Facebook, Amazon, and other tech giants might be in some serious trouble now, as antitrust officials want 10 years of documents about their acquisitions to figure out the question, how on earth did these companies get so big? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here and I really like this video, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification. We upload new videos on a near daily basis and you will want to be notified of them. We do news, commentary, editorials, interviews, live streams, all that jazz. So anyway, this is a story that I am going to be following with great interest. This is from Recode, because I have stated over and over again that these tech companies, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Disney, Microsoft, and Google as well, they've basically become monopolies. And they are tech monopolies. And we know they talk to one another, and we know they control our information. If you buy a bunch of digital content through one of these companies, anyone, doesn't really matter. Let's just say Microsoft for the heck of it. And they decide, hey, they want to suspend your account for some violation that you're not aware of, then you lose all that stuff and there's really no recourse. In fact, I remember for a long time, I was actually suspended from the Microsoft Rewards program, the Bing's program, because I had violated the terms of service. I didn't even know I'd violated anything. And I asked, well, what was the violation? I didn't get any response, and for like a year, I could not collect points, and all of a sudden, I could collect points again. It was really weird, and it kind of goes to show just how arbitrary these companies are. And then, of course, you know, Amazon's third-party seller, so, you know, anyway. But here's the thing. This is happening. The Federal Trade Commission actually wants 10 years of acquisition documents. They kind of want to see, okay, what companies were these companies acquiring? How did it, you know, contribute to them getting to the size that they are? And while you might not be able to unwind the past deals, apparently that's not off the table. So let's look at this. United States antitrust officials have ordered the country's top tech companies to hand over a decade's worth of information for their acquisitions of competitor firms, and a move aimed at determining how giants like Amazon and Facebook have used acquisitions to become so dominant. More specifically, the Federal Trade Commission seeks to determine whether these companies are making potentially anti-competitive acquisitions of nascent or potential competitors. Currently, the FTC doesn't typically require these companies to seek approval of such small acquisitions in advance, and that might be one of the things that come up in it. You know, if you make enough small acquisitions, it's not really noticeable. Like when Disney bought Fox, that was a big noticeable thing. People were freaked out by that. Unfortunately, the government wasn't one of them, and it went through, and, well, now we're where we are with Fox and Disney. But most of the time, these companies buy little things. In fact, let's head on over to Facebook and look at this old picture hosted on Facebook, ironically. I posted this in September 6, 2009, and eBay, I was having some problems with eBay. In fact, the problems that I had on eBay resulted in me making a few PayPal and ProPay and eBay videos that ended up becoming very big, and I cry thinking about what my YouTube career could have been like had I actually followed through and kept making videos. But eBay was this humongous company back then. And granted, Amazon existed. Yeah, Amazon became a lot bigger. But the thing is, Amazon was a beast. Everybody was on it. Everyone was selling things on it. Companies had found new things. And, well, competitors sprung up. A lot of competitors. What are those competitors? You don't remember them. Why? Well, look at the picture right here. You'll see things like Half.com, Butterfield and Butterfield, Rent.com, Fair Market, Bazee, Eknet, Mobile.d, Korean Internet Auction CD, Craigslist, Cruise, Kijiji, and you see the Vericheck being bought by PayPal as eBay swallows Skype and Shopping.com. Now, some of these sites still exist, but eBay owns them. And here's the thing, whenever a competitor came up, eBay was so big that guess what? They just bought them. They would just buy these companies and they'd either shut them down or they'd keep them around and eBay would get the profits, which meant that essentially for years until Amazon came along, and I acknowledge that, yes, when Amazon came along, this was a good thing, but, unfortunately, Amazon became eBay. This is the problem when you depend too... this is why I like competition. If you have a competitor, if you have a couple competitors, you're fine. If you have one person dominating, then you're not fine. So here's the thing. Amazon came along and eBay kind of became less of a big deal. Before, eBay was the big fish. They swallowed everything in their sight. And none of these are huge purchases, really. None of them. You think anyone cried when eBay bought Cruise or Fair Market or Half.com? They didn't. But these little purchases did result in eBay pretty much having a monopoly on the e-commerce market until Amazon came along. So let's go back over here. So this is what the FTC wants to look at. They want to look at all these little purchases and decide how dangerous are they. And the orders were sent to Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, and Google parent company Alphabet, and they require the firms to produce documents and information, quote, on the terms, scope, structure, and purpose of transactions that each company consummated between January 1st, 2010 and December 31st, 2019. In addition to determining whether current FTC requirements for companies to seek pre-approval for a merger or acquisition are sufficient, the study also hopes to determine whether any of the tech giants are skirting these rules, FTC Commissioner Joseph Simon said on a call to reporters. The FTC does have the authority to break up past deals when necessary. Quote, it's conceivable we could go back and initiate enforcement actions to deal with transactions that were problematic. The wide-reaching requests of these companies' acquisition strategies comes amid a broader reckoning for big tech whose size, power, and business practices are increasingly being scrutinized by politicians and activists, as well as by the FTC and Department of Justice, each of which is conducting antitrust probes of several tech giants. At the same time, some lawmakers have criticized the FTC and DOJ for not doing enough till now to curb the growth of tech giants and the resulting power disparity between them and industry rival. I do agree. I think they should have been paying attention to this a heck of a lot sooner. However, I'm going to give them just a little bit of slack because, you know what? The FTC, like most government organizations, have a lot to do. And sometimes you don't even realize the scope of the problem until it's staring you in the face. Like most people, believe it or not, did not realize how big Disney was until they say, hey, we're going to spend $5 billion to buy Fox. And people were like, can you do that? Do you have the money to do that? Oh, you do. Well, what else do you? Oh, you own what now? You own what? So there you go. And here's the thing. Here's the main reason that this was even pushed. Because Simon said the hope is the study provides the FTC clarity on what we are missing, why certain acquisition notices were not filed, the significance of the transaction, and whether there's something we need to change going forward. So yeah, and by the way, they're not the only one, because apparently Jeff Bezos' first employee that he hired for Amazon says Amazon scares him. He was quoted saying, on one hand, I'm proud of what it became, but it also scares me. This shall happen. So, who Jeff Bezos once called the most important person ever in the history of Amazon.com, now Amazon's very first employee, Shel Kaphan, says a breakup of Amazon could potentially make sense. In an interview for a new PBS Frontline documentary about Amazon viewed by Recode, which airs February 18th, Kaphan said the company's rise to power has left him conflicted. He, as mentioned before, he said, on one hand, I'm proud of what it's become, but it also scares me. Asked if he favors a breakup of the company, which has been advocated by Senator Elizabeth Warren and some anti-monopoly activists, Kaphan says, I think they're now at the scale where that could potentially make sense. And they talk about how Warren wants to separate. She wants to separate the third-party merchants, which I would be okay with. Other people want to separate Amazon's cloud services, since that's basically what's allowing them to lose money everywhere else. I think maybe they should both be split off. And he's not the only one. In fact, if you go down a little bit, Facebook co-founder Chris Hughes has also called for the breakup of the company he helped form with Mark Zuckerberg. So it's interesting how most of these people who helped create companies, who are not the CEOs and majority shareholders, I should mention, basically look at these companies and it's like, yeah, we need to break them up. They're too big. They scare us. This isn't why we made them. We're concerned. So I don't know what's actually going to happen with this whole FTC thing. Maybe nothing. I mean, it's unfortunate. We might be at the point where they're too big to fail. They're too big to do anything about. Granted, we were able to break up Microsoft, so I think anything's possible. And hey, Parasite won Best Picture. If a foreign language film can win Best Picture, you can break up Amazon. I know people are using that phrase for other things on Twitter, but you know what? This is my channel, and I'm going to use the phrase however I want. By the way, see Parasite. It's awesome. Also, in fact, watch Parasite now, because we're pretty much done with this one. I'd like to now ask you guys what your opinions are. Do you agree with the FTC? Do you think the FTC should break them up? Do you think they're right in calling for this? Do these companies scare you, or do you not care? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.